Look into NATO as an example. We are funding and taking care disproportionately of the costs of many countries. We have to do something with NATO. When it comes to nuclear, you're going to have to ask yourself, at what point and at what cost do we continue to protect Japan and Germany and many other countries? They're not paying for this protection in anywhere near what it's costing us.
Those comments caused a firestorm when Trump made them back in 2016. And now another candidate is going even further. Vivek Ramaswamy telling Politico that withdrawing from NATO is a reasonable idea. Plus, he wants to reevaluate the United States' involvement in the UN. But wait, there's more. Ramaswamy telling Axios just hours ago that while we shouldn't send money to Israel, we should provide a diplomatic Iron Dome. Joining us now, Vivek Ramaswamy, 2024 Republican presidential candidate. Vivek, good to see you tonight. Good to see you. Tell me what a diplomatic Iron Dome would look like.
So look, what Hamas did to Israel was wrong. It was morally outrageous. And Israel absolutely has a national right to self-defense, Laura, and they have the capability to do it. A diplomatic Iron Dome means institutions like the UN that would otherwise criticize Israel eventually for concerns of proportionality or otherwise, trying to draw a false equivalence between the terrorists who attack Israel and Israel's self-defense. The U.S. would diplomatically say, no, Israel absolutely has a right to national self-defense. And keep in mind, that was the premise of Israel in the first place as a nation. The Zionist project was based on the idea of actual right to self-defense and existence, and I stand for that. That's different, Laura, from then saying the U.S. needs to then get involved, though, in another no-win war for the U.S. in the Middle East. From Iraq to Afghanistan, we have made these mistakes before. $6.5 trillion of our $33 trillion national debt is attributable to just those two wars. Thousands of American lives lost.
The difference,
so I think we look at this from a US
hold on. The
perspective.
difference, though, for obviously Israel is our ally. I mean, that is different. I mean, it's certainly different from Ukraine, and they're a vital ally in the Middle East, which is obviously critical for our national security. So I'm totally with you on Iraq and Afghanistan. It ended up, I was on the other side early on in the Iraq conflict, but obviously it turned out to be a total nightmare for us. But in this case, they're our ally. And we don't let our allies down, and it doesn't mean we give people a blank check either. I would agree with you on that. But I think kind of tossing it off as, well, we made these mistakes in Iraq, I think that's a mistake.
Well, I want to be precise, Laura. What I've said is actually many in Israel don't want the U.S. second-guessing the decisions that they make.
Well, that's different.
This is Israel's. But that comes with aid. So my view is if the U.S. is going to provide aid in this situation, then it's up to the U.S. to ask Israel some questions about what exactly are the objectives in Gaza? What exactly comes after Hamas in Gaza? So what I've said is no aid to Israel, at least until we have clear answers of what exactly are the objectives of that ground invasion, which I have serious concerns about. But for now, that's Israel's decision to make, not the U.S. or anybody else's to get in the way. But if the U.S. is going to fund it or get involved, then we have to answer those questions. That's where I'm at, Laura, and I've been very precise about that.
I frankly trust Israel's judgment better on this stuff than I do Blinken and Austin and all the rest. But Vivek, in the last hour, Bret Baier had an interesting segment with Democrat Senator Chris Coons and Republican Senator John Thune. Now, the subject of escalation with Iran came up. Watch this.
Iran funded, supplied, trained the fighters of Hamas and is behind these other proxies. We need to be striking back, and we need to be prepared for the very real prospect that this will get harder.
Not responding is not an option either. I mean, you have the animating force behind the evil in that region is Iran. The message is going to have to be sent. We can't afford not to act.
The bipartisan war consensus seems to be back, Vivek.
So I do not think a broader regional conflict or a war with Iran right now is in the U.S. national interest. My view, Laura, is you have the Arab countries, including Saudi Arabia, Turkey, Israel, all of whom have shared interests in the Middle East to make sure Iran does not present a problem. I'm not saying that that's a stable balance of power. It's an uncomfortable balance of power. But U.S. involvement here, I do not think, is the right answer in entering a long, no-win war that will not advance our interests. And so, to me, Laura, America first, it doesn't come with an asterisk at the end. We have to look at every situation through the prism of what advances American interests. That's my moral obligation. If I'm the next president, my moral obligation is to the citizens of this country. Yes, that includes standing for our allies diplomatically and intelligence sharing.
Vivek, Vivek, we're limited time, but I'm sorry to interrupt, but we have such limited time. So you've been spending a lot of money. Like, I'm just looking at what the campaigns are laying out. Yeah. I think you've spent more in the last quarter. Donald Trump's cut back on spending. Obviously, he's way ahead. But you've ramped up your spending. I think in total the last year, is it 23 million, something like that? And he's cut back on spending. Are you getting the return on your own investment? You're the money guy. So you're getting a big bang for your buck here? All these polling companies and consultants that all you guys hire, how's it paying off?
We'll find out in the early part of next year. But my bet is, Laura, we're doing this as a grassroots campaign. When I started this, nobody in this country, really, save for a few, knew who I was. And Donald Trump, he made some significant investments to win in 2016 as well. My view is this. At least I'm spending my own money. I think the super PACs are a cancer on American politics. The dirty little secret in American politics is every politician dances to the tune of their biggest donor. And in my case, that biggest donor is me. And it's a small dollar movement. I think we actually outpaced DeSantis and other campaigns for small dollar donations in that quarter. Right. And so that's what's going to lift us up. But, we'll see early next year with the Iowa caucus, and I'm optimistic.
All right. We're interested in watching. Vivek, thank you so much.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.